Welcome. Today we're going to do a 60s mod look from the Dolce Gabbana runway. My model today is Kathelyne. She's been helping me out, and my name's Katie James. I'm a makeup artist in New York City. Let's get started. So the focus of this look is the eyeliner. So we're going to be just doing a very, very light shadow just to give it that nice smooth base, but we're not focusing on the eyeshadow too much. I did a nice primer so everything will stay in place well. And I'm just going to start with a kind of pinky taupe eyeshadow. This is kind of a fluffier brush, just so you can get a good coating all over. And when you move the brush back and forth like that, it kind of blends it while you apply. So you see that just gives a nice, pretty, smooth base. So for the eyeliner, I'm going to use a pencil and a brush. You could use a gel eyeliner for this, a liquid. I just like the control that you have over the pencil and the brush, and it just gives it a nice, clean look. So we're going to start on the lash line and then build up from there. You don't want to try and do too much all at once. It just gives it a nice, cleaner look, and it's easier for you to work with when you do it in sections. So I'm going to pull it out just a little bit. Not like a cat eye, but we just want a little bit pulled out on the outer end. And then go all the way into the inner corner. And you just take a little more product and build, kind of think of it building lines on top of lines. So you want to go one more layer on top. And we do want it a little thicker on the outer corner. And build another line on top of that. And we're getting that really cool, thick 60s mod line. Just a tiny bit thicker than that, so we're going one more line on top. And it's not a sharp cat eye, it kind of has a round edge on the back. It's more about the thickness of the line than how far it's being pulled out. And then we'll go on the other side. Once again, we just keep it right on the lash line at first. We don't want to get too ambitious too quickly. And that way you have some time to build it up and make it look absolutely perfect. The definition of this line is really important for this look. It has to have that sharp, retro, defined liner. So again, we're taking a little bit past our eye, but not too far. And you want to make sure it's really, really black too. So if you pull it out and it starts to look a little bit smudgy, you can just go over with a little bit more product and make sure it's that deep, deep black. And there's no rush on this. You can just make sure the lines are really sharp. You can make sure that they're even. And then you can just paint over and make sure it's really, really black. I'll do one more layer of the black on top. So we have the liner done, which is our main focus. It has that really thick, defined look. It's a big statement on the eyes. So I'm going in with a flesh-colored liner on the inside. That's a really, really 60s look too. They always had that kind of light look on the bottom on the inside, and then that really dark liner. This is It Stick by Benefit. It's a really nice lighter flesh tone color. And then to get on the inside of the eye, you just press gently and the eye will pop open and you can do your work on the inside. So we want really big lashes for this look, so I'm going to use a volumizing mascara on this with a nice big brush. So you get a really nice thick lash from this. And you can even add lashes on this look. It's a nice mod feel to it when you get those really, really thick lashes. I'm just going to do some volumizing mascara. On the bottom we want to keep it really soft, so we're just going to do on the outer corner. So just to get that little bit of color and definition on the bottom, we're not going too much. And if you colored any of the lashes with that white or the flesh colored liner, you can just go in and correct that with the mascara. So the rest of this look with the lips and the cheeks have a little bit of a peachy tone to them. I'm using this light peach tone blush so that we can have just a little bit of glow on the skin, but the mod look has that really defined eye and then kind of a washed out look on the rest of the face. You can see that's a very fair blush. It just gives that little bit of a glow to the skin. And that really gives that nice definition to the apples of her cheeks. You pull a little bit on the temples and right along the jawline here. So next I'm just going to do a little bit of translucent powder, kind of on the T-zone and the chin. The 60s look always had that really matte skin, so I'm not going to add any extra color, but I just want to make sure that there's no excess shine, so I'm using a translucent powder for that. So I'm just tapping that right on the T-zone here. A little under the eyes. It just gives that kind of porcelain matte look that was really popular back then. For the final step, we're doing lips. I'm doing a very fair, nude, kind of peachy undertone to it. Nice nude lip. It's kind of sheer. We don't want too much color on the lip. Just give that little bit of wash of peach on the lips, but it's not going to be taking away focus from anything. And then just one last step, I'm going to take that same translucent powder again. I'm actually going to use my finger and tap that right on the lips. What that does is matte it down. It gives it that kind of retro feel. I'm just tapping that powder on top. So this is our completed 60s mod Dolce & Gabbana runway look. I'll just do a quick recap for you. So we started with a nicely primed eye. I did a little bit of a taupe shadow all the way over the lid, just very lightly, so we had a nice base for the liner. Then I took, you can either do a gel, liquid, or a pencil. I took a pencil and used a brush to apply it. Do a very thick line of black liner in layers, in increments. And then we did 2 layers of mascara, very volumizing mascara over that. A little bit of soft peach blush, very light, and then our soft peach lip color, which we matted down with a little bit of translucent powder. So there you have our very simple 60s mod look inspired by Dolce & Gabbana's runway. I'd like to thank Kathelyne for being here with me today. My name's Katie James. I'm a makeup artist in New York City. You can see more of my work at CHIC.TV. Thanks for watching.